Hello, everyone. We are live at our live production meeting. I think the reason that we do our production meetings live on live stream is that anyone who wants, we are a co creation crew of fringe theater people, and we like when people co create with us. So that's why we open this to a live stream. Um, I know it's a production meeting, which you would think would be closed, but since we're a co creation group, then we open these things up. Um, Okay, so all right, we're here with the usuals, Alexander and Jay Z, and tonight we've decided we're going to talk about sketch. I don't know, moments, sketches. So as far in production, like what is sketch? So like, I don't know, what do you guys think of when you think of like a sketch versus like something else?
Well, I think artistic, right? So a sketch is like a draw in a 2D artist's world is it's a quick rendering, maybe, right?
Uh,
That you might not necessarily have all the details thought about ahead of time, but it gives the impression of whatever it is you're trying to convey. What do you think about that?
I do think about that. I think that's actually, yeah. And sometimes I would say what people I think sometimes mistake is that um, they think that the sketch is a rough something or other that's part of the end product, but in and of itself is not an end. And I would say that some sketches, uh, what you were talking about, JC, that they have a feeling or an impression of the larger thing. The impression is as valuable as the larger thing.
Hmm. All right. So, what do we think about sketch comedy? What does that mean?
Almost
can I
comedy.
say oh, sorry. Can I say something before we answer that question?
Oh yeah.
So okay, so this is interesting. You guys are making me think about sketching. Like, is it a final product? Is it a thing? Okay, so have you guys heard of gestural drawing versus regular drawing?
Yes.
Okay, so gestural drawing is like when you take your pencil and you draw something like this. Like, if I was gonna draw Jay Z, I would do this as a gesture drawing of him, and maybe his beard would be like this, and maybe I would make three, things on his beard or whatever. Because when we think of drawing, we always think of this like linear drawing that is like realist and but gestural drawing is like a sketch based form of drawing, and you use it for different reasons. Like if somebody was going to make a portrait, they could do a gesture drawing to get ready for the portrait, which is kind of like what Alexander was saying of like a sketch that leads to a final script. But there are also just gestural drawings that are the end product. Like it is a style of drawing where it might be that was what the artist meant to do. And I think sometimes in video we do sketches that are the final product. I mean, like if you think of like Conan O'Brien, he'll have like the show, and then they'll have sketches outside the formal show, but each sketch is its own piece.
Well, I think what you're, yeah, I think what you're saying is that sometimes the sketch can exist on it, excuse me, exist on its own, and I think that's what I was saying too. That you know, uh, I believe George O'Keeffe and Picasso and Goya, they all had sketches, and now the sketches are as valuable as the paintings. I mean, it's because they're dead and their work is worth a mint. But I think the the sketch has value. I think it's not to be dismissed. And Samuel Beckett, one of the playwrights I love, um, he called things sketches, but they were very serious, and he was very serious about them. He would have short plays that would be called sketch number one, sketch number two, and they were performed.
Like a Picasso sketch is probably worth millions of dollars. But
Yes.
then it's like, so I do want to get your question, Jay Z, because that's a really good question. But I think just like looking at this point of like there could be a alone sketch, like the sketch itself is a piece of art, um, but then sometimes sketches are just on the process to a final, and that, I guess, how are they similar? How is a sketch similar if it's a standalone version? I mean, what's a standalone sketch? You know.
Well, I don't know. In art, I know that there are some people that made sketches thinking they were going to make a larger work, but they never made the larger work, which gives more importance to the sketch. The sketch is the sole custodian of that idea because there was never a larger idea expanded on.
Well, oh, go ahead.
Well, I have an example. I have this tattoo that I did right here. It's a stick and poke tattoo. It's a lion. It's a green lion eating the sun anyway. And I was just trying it out to see if I liked it and how it was going to come out. And I was either going to make it, I never wanted to make it more formal here. And then I had a friend who's a tattoo artist who did the same thing, like, but for real, because she's a real tattoo artist over here. So I have like two versions of the same thing. And I guess I would call this little one a sketch because it was like kind of a test rendering.
You did it yourself? Like,
Yeah.
yourself?
Yeah, with like India ink and a needle and thread in a hotel room.
That was an era in Jay-Z's life.
That-
I won't tell you what
That-
era it
that's a great
was, but
story. I could probably come up with a whole story around that.
well,
But,
and
so the thing itself is the sole work, right?
Yeah, I mean, like, which one is more important? I would say they're of equal importance, and they have different meanings to me. You know?
okay, I like what you're saying about being a custodian of the concept. Okay, because let's take a concept that we might use at the Moira Press, like passionate Mars syndrome. That's like a PMS. That's a concept I use a lot because people are always tripping on Mercury in retrograde. I'm like, well, I'm so busy with passionate Mars syndrome that I can't get to Mercury in retrograde. Okay, well, passionate Mars syndrome is the concept. It's the seed there of the videos that would be made. A sketch, we could sketch around passionate Mars syndrome where we like do little reels, or like they're not like a formal video where you like unveil passionate Mars syndrome as a concept, like, but we could make like a final passionate Mars syndrome video that is like the passionate Mars syndrome reel. But I guess what you're saying is like there could be all these like reels are kind of sketches, aren't they?
Yeah, and I think they're kind of like little in a way they're practices, but in a way they are like of equal importance because they're just a different format. And probably if you did like a dozen different small reels and then you did a more formal project, the bigger project would probably come out better because you've practiced it a few times. And I think that's what sketches allow you to do, is allow you to practice doing something a whole bunch of times in a faster way to learn.
Yeah, something you don't know something's a sketch until like it becomes a final movie. Like if there was one day we made like a final movie, of Stardoll or something, then everything that had been done before that was just a sketch. You know what I mean? Like those things would be turned into sketches by the final movie being rendered. But at this point, they're standalone movies. We don't know that they're sketches, and so in some ways, it's a the past returns from the future. There of like here, this future piece comes. Like if you were making an album, Jay-Z, like like you sketched out a few songs for an album, which would be those like kind of yoga songs.
Mm-hmm.
Right now they look like a song, but if you then made an album later, they would look like they retroactively look like sketches.
Yeah, I agree with that for sure.
And they would be valuable. I just looked up some fine art stuff that there are famous drawings by Albrecht Dürer and Da Vinci and Michelangelo and Raphael and Van Gogh and Schiegel and Picasso. So they all stand on their own.
Mm-hmm.
and they were never part of anything else, as far as I know.
I guess you could have sketches leading up to something, or you could just make sketches as a thing, like you're saying, sketch one, sketch two, sketch two. Like, so let's arrive at JC's question now of like, what is sketch comedy versus comedy?
Yeah, I was asking that for real because I don't really know. And then I looked it up. I just surreptitiously looked it up, and it's like also they were kind of using the word sketch and skit interchangeably, and I don't really know what either of those mean.
I think my guess is short in terms of sketch comedy or skit comedy. The one thing that they all have seemingly together, whether it's Saturday Night Live or Monty Python, they're all very short.
Mm-hmm.
So sketch comedy is not long form to them.
Yeah, I do think sketches are short. Okay, sketch comedy is a form of humorous. Hold on.
Humorous. Hold on.
Sorry. Sketch comedy is a form of humorous entertainment composed of a series of short, self-contained, scripted scenes or vignettes known as sketches, typically lasting between 1 and 10 minutes. These scenes are performed by a group of comic actors and are presented either on stage or through an audio or visual medium such as television or radio. Key characteristics, it's short form.
Yeah.
So sketches are brief, allowing for a rapid succession of different ideas and scenarios. They're scripted and rehearsed. Although some sketches may originate from improvisation, they are generally pre-written and rehearsed in advance of the performance. They have a single premise or idea. Each sketch typically explores a single comedic concept, character, or situation, often heightening the absurdity through repetition and escalation. Varied content sketches can be character-driven, premise-driven, observational, or parodies of existing media. Like Saturday Night Live is all sketch comedy.
So it seems that they have, so for one, they're scripted. So they do have scripts. For two, they seem to have characters. They seem to have like costuming and a little stage set. Yeah.
Or a premise or idea. So, like, okay, then there's listen. There's an ensemble cast. They're usually performed by a group of actors who often play different, sometimes one-dimensional or archetypal characters in each scene. So I feel like we are doing kind of sketches because we're like a cast of people. Like when Debbie came on and was our acting coach, like in that sketch, even though it was an hour-long sketch, but like we could say like in that sketch, she was our acting coach. But at the Course in Miracles yesterday, she was just herself or whatever. You know, like I do think there's something about us having characters and then they do different roles per the scene that makes it kind of sketch-like.
It's well, if it were true that it was sketches that you would call these sketches, they definitely would be, you know, improv and not scripted, right?
Well, of course, you know, like we're not gonna, but okay, but like Saturday Night Live is a good example of sketch comedy where it's like there's an ensemble of actors and they play different roles. Like Hans and Franz was a whole sketch based on those characters. Pat, remember Pat? That was like that was like, so those are characters, but then there's a premise. Like Passionate Mars Syndrome could be sketches around that idea, you know, kind of thing. But yeah.
Well, I think like the videos that we're planning on making in January, right? Like those, I feel we're developing the concepts now, but we intend those to be scripted, right? And costumed with characters and an idea ahead of time of what we'll be doing. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, when I've made art videos, I don't do totally scripted. Like we do like ideas and then we improv around each idea and then the video comes from that. That's just what I do. I don't do like formal screenplays with like Alexander's more that style of like screenplay with everything. I'm like, okay, in this scene, like Jay-Z and Andy meet on the street. Okay, and then we just like act out meeting on the street. Like I don't write like every.
So it's more storyboarded, but not scripted and rehearsed.
Yes.
So there's some kind of a framework. It's not completely, what do you call that? Extemporaneous or something?
Right, there's like scenes that are scripted and then we like improv, but that's a certain style of production. I can't remember where I read it, where it's like you have like a concept and then you act out that concept and you improv that concept. To me, the reason I don't do totally scripted is we're like a reality TV co-creative, troupe. So it's like it depends on what you want to act out. Like if I come there in January and you want to act out us falling in love, like we will fall in love. But if you're like, no, I don't want to fall in love, I'm trying to find a boyfriend, I'll be like, okay, we're not falling in love. I don't know. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I think I like to leave space for the other actors to, play their role as they want because they're writing the story as well.
Mm-hmm. Do you think that can be done ahead of time, though, and kind of negotiated ahead of time, and the script could be co-created?
Absolutely.
Wow.
I'm more interested in watching scripted material. I have very little use for unscripted material and improv on stage. I think improv is boring. It's just cute. It's meant to get you to do this, but it doesn't pull me in emotionally or psychologically. So here's an idea. Both John Cassavetes and Mike Leigh, they used to improv, like the two of you, for example, we think we might fall in love, but we're not going to fall in love because Jay-Z's looking for a boyfriend. So you play all that out and you improv that together, but don't film it. And then whatever you decide based on what you act, you write it down. And then you film that. So both Cassavetes and Mike Leigh have done that, where they just improv until they get the emotions that they want, because that's really what pulls people in. Get the emotions you want, and then write it so that you've got all that down.
Would you call that first rendering a sketch?
Yes. I never thought of it before, but sure, yes.
I mean, in some ways, sketching is relative. Like a sketch could be the final product, or it could be a sketch if there's later another final product. I mean, it's not like you have to define what you're doing. We don't have to be like, this is a sketch, do it this way. Like it's like we're just like rendering whatever we want to. I'm like we're like I want to do One Step Up, and then and now you want to do it too. So we're like, okay, now we're making that video. And then we like might sketch out a storyline around that is like, because it seems like they're fighting, or it's like one step up, two steps back, but then you realize at the end of the video they're dancing. And so it's like it's like we could play up either storyline in that video or none of those storylines. That's where it comes into, we both know we want to do that song. That's as far as our script is gone now. And then we have to script the next piece.
Wait, is that really true? At the end of the song, you realize they're dancing?
Yeah.
I didn't realize that. I listened to that song a million times and I didn't really realize that at all. Good one.
Yeah.
There's also another example. What's that?
Do you know that song? It's a Bruce Springsteen song on Tunnel of Love.
No, but I'll write it down.
Anyway, all right.
There's another example I thought of that Andre Gregory in a movie with Wallace Shawn called My Dinner with Andre, where they just talked and Louis Malle shot the whole thing. But that's not the thing. Andre Gregory rehearsed Chekhov's Uncle Vanya for 3 years. They never produced it. Their goal was to do the rehearsal. And actually, it got produced by Louis Malle again, but the director Louis Malle. But their goal was not an end product. Their goal was to keep finding things by rehearsing over and over and over again. So that's an interesting idea too. And I could see you two doing that, where you were doing something and then you say, no, wait a minute, she wouldn't do that. She would do this, and then do it again, and then do it again. But that's a sketch too.
Well, so it sounds like short form is part of sketching. Is like this long meeting we're doing is not a sketch because it's a long form content, right? or like these hour-long videos are not necessarily sketches because they're long form. But if we did like a 10-minute talking video, is that a sketch?
I don't know. It would have to be based on a single idea, I think, and maybe extrapolate a little bit from that, but start with a single idea. And I think that A Course in Miracles is too broad an idea. It would have to be, are donuts better in the morning or in the evening? And then go from that for a short period of time and then stop. I'm
So
just
like it
making,
could be like Stardoll and Z0 meet. That would be like a sketch.
yes.
Because the only concept is this meeting's occurring. And then we could be like, how are we going to show that? Do we write a song? Do we write our own song called Z0 and Stardoll meet? Or do we have, what music do, or we have to like storyboard the sound to it. What's the soundtrack to that? What's it? Is it a silent film, or we use one of Jay-Z's songs that he made? Like they're like, you have to kind of then choreograph how you're going to unwrap that package. Like in teaching, there's something called like pedagogy and didactics, which is how you unwrap the package of what you're teaching. What is the concept? So, you can use a PowerPoint slide deck to unwrap the package, or you can use a worksheet, And so I think it's the same with the sketch. It's like, what's the concept? Now, how are we going to unwrap that package?
Yeah. So they meet. That's what you start with. And then how do they meet? What happens when they meet? Where do they meet? What time is it? Do they meet often? Do they keep meeting?
What are the emotions around the meeting?
So their meeting is just the starting point.
Yeah.
Yeah. What are their emotions? What do they feel when they meet?
I like that. I like that one concept per video, one concept per sketch. Like Stardoll got a tattoo. That was a sketch because the whole concept was Stardoll gets a tattoo.
Yes.
Interesting.
Yes.
Okay.
And then you improved in that, the cuts.
Right. All the continuity issues were improv.
Yeah. But the continuity issues, they weren't issues, but they were great. That I liked that she had something on her back and then she didn't. And then
Yeah.
she did again and then she didn't. I like playing with time and space.
How do we come up with concepts for sketches? Like, how do we know what concepts to sketch?
I kind of think he just brainstormed that as to what would be intriguing and fun to do and interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would say the same thing. Brainstorming.
I like that list that you said before, Andy, of like they were either around a concept or what is it?
It's like a premise or a character or a concept.
Yeah. Interesting.
Well, like, is a music video a sketch?
I guess if it's it depends what kind of a music video, right? If they're like a storytelling one, like not, I guess, Thriller, because that's too long. It's 20 minutes, right? But if it's has a storyline, I think then I would consider them more in the genre of a sketch.
Mm-hmm.
But if it's like concert footage, I'd say no. Because again, it seems like the sketches have to have either an arc or a storyline or a premise, or they have to kind of like go somewhere, like from point A to point B.
And like, what are the sketches like that Conan O'Brien does? Like, I feel like it'll be like Conan O'Brien goes to the American Girl doll factory, or like Conan O'Brien like orders a Big Mac, or like whatever it is. It's like the character doing a thing is the sketch.
Well, it's like what happens when the character does that thing that is the sketch, you know?
Oh, interesting. Like, how would Conan O'Brien order a Big Mac, like, as opposed to just a normal person? That's what's interesting about it.
Yeah, yeah. And I think that, like, so I know this isn't a sketches, but like Seinfeld episodes, right? There was like one episode where they were like waiting in line for a Chinese food restaurant or something like that, and they never actually, it was like that was the whole entire episode. But it was like what they talked about or did or whatever during that time that made a whole episode interesting.
Yeah.
I think Seinfeld is almost a sketch show because it's like they'll like I just watched a few episodes of it and he was like there was a whole sketch about him eating cantaloupe and it was like there's little like it's like little like concept sketches. Like I feel like Seinfeld was writing sketch comedy and then stitching it together into a longer episode.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, they're not really. I don't know if they're even long form. They're with commercials. Because of commercials, they're only 18 minutes long. I mean, I think when they started out, they were 22, but most sitcoms are half hour, which makes them about 18 minutes long.
Like we always say here at the Moyer Press, we're sketch conversation, not sketch comedy. Like so, like we're like a sitcom, like not a sitcom. We're sitcon. We're like situational conversation. Or so it's like on the Facebook page, it'll be like Uranus and Gemini. That's the concept, and so it'll be like, what house is Gemini in your chart? And then like that's the whole concept we riff on. It's like the Uranus and Gemini transit. So like I do think that I think we're like sketch conversation in some ways, not sketch comedy, but like conversations based around one concept at a time. Um, I do think we have that element,
What
But
would you like from doing these sketches?
well, I see it more as like we have an ensemble of actors, and all of them have different things they want to do because of their charts are popping, and they have these impetus and transits that they want to do. So, Debbie D, like she wanted to come in and talk to us about like this acting concept, whatever. So, because she's part of the ensemble of actors that we have, that became the sketch is like Debbie D teaches us about XYZ. Like I know it's not technically sketch because it's longer than 10 minutes, but I'm just saying that's how that scene was crafted. Debbie D wanted to do that scene, right? But like we want Stardoll and Z Zero to meet because we want to start having videos with Stardoll and Z Zero. So we have to sketch out that moment because otherwise the audience doesn't understand that they meet. Then there would be a continuity issue. Like, so I guess people's wants and needs are informing what sketches we do, depending on what the actors want in the ensemble.
I see.
Like the only premise around here is that people come in and want to live out their chart with us. Like, for example, Jenna, she's a new actor and she talks to the gods. Like, that's one of her things that her chart does. So we might write some sketch around like Jenna talks to the gods. And like then there's a sketch of her like talking to Isis or something. Why is that? Because her chart talks to gods. And so we want to sketch that out.
I like the idea of sketches as well because they're more consumable, They're like shorter, they're good project chunks that you could actually do them and get them done, Like I know people who have aspired to make a movie or aspired to write a novel and they don't actually seem to complete that. So I think if we instead try to not even try, just do smaller projects that are in consumable chunks, we'll be able to make them happen and actually do them and do lots of them.
Totally. Well, and I also think because we're an ensemble, like sketching makes it available so that everyone can be on stage to the point that they want. Like, for example, Kim Strickland, he talks to me a lot about nemesis, the point of nemesis in the chart. It's like that's one of his things he perseverates on. And so, like, if we did a sketch with him about nemesis, he would stop perseverating on that because he would see it in production, and like he could be like, there's my nemesis video where I talk about this concept that I like, you know? And so I feel like, because if we do these sketches, everyone can get their perseverations out on the table and feel expressed. You know, if it was just long form content only, we couldn't really consume everyone, is what I guess I'm trying to say.
Mm-hmm.
So everybody's voice would be heard, is what you're saying.
Absolutely. Like, I guess that's what I'm learning from one of the things I'm learning from today is that it's sketch comedy or sketch things come out of an ensemble of actors. And that's why I think it's coming up partially here is, you know, because there's an ensemble of us.
Right. Yeah. And I think also people get to participate to different levels depending on how much effort they want to put into it, right? Time and effort. Like they could be a main character in a sketch, or they could be a backup character in a sketch, or they could, you know, and also you need people in the crew or people to help out in, you know, front of the house and back of the house, whatever you call it. I don't know. But
Right.
like cast and crew, you know, you need a lot of roles to be filled. And that way lots of people can participate.
Like, I was just reading about extras, and I guess I never knew what an extra was exactly, but an extra is somebody with a non-speaking role.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh, that's what an extra is. That's why they're not a main character, because they're not talking.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So we might need extras for a certain sketch we're doing, because like we're in a restaurant, or you know, and then we need people in the restaurant, or you know, there's you know, how it depends how we unwrap the package of that sketch. But I do think one of the reasons we lend towards sketch is, like, you know how in Course in Miracles we're always coming up with band names. Those
Yeah.
are memes. Like, we basically come up with a lot of memes,
Yeah.
and each meme could be turned into a sketch.
Yeah.
I suppose. I think because you're going to Gloucester in January, you have a lot of time to think about it. So to me, pre-production is really important. And so you have a lot of time to think about what you want, what you're going to do. But that's January. Aren't you going to be busy in January?
For what?
For February.
Well, a lot of the production of a wedding happens like way in it. I mean, I producing a wedding is like producing. I mean, I'm a producer. Like, a wedding is like just a production. You start with the thing you want in mind, and then you have all these steps you take on the way, and most of those steps have already been taken. I mean, you just have to coordinate all the things. I know people always want your life to stop for your wedding. I'm like, my relationship with Shane is not like my whole life. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Although we are going to have a sketch that day where we act romantically into each other.
And you're gonna rehearse the ceremony part.
Are
Yeah.
we?
Usually
you?
people do.
People often do.
Yeah.
That
Because
way they get to have a rehearsal dinner.
that's right. That's why they rehearse. Because you don't want to walk into a door on the day you have to do it.
Yeah,
You
interesting.
want to find your marks.
It's just a run through.
Yeah. And then you
So
get
everybody knows what to expect, especially
you-
all your autistic friends who need to know what to expect.
That's right. That's right. That's right. All your autistic friends. That's funny. All right, come on in.
I'm not trying to downplay the wedding sketch, but it's one sketch of many. Like, I'm a relationship anarchist where all the relationships in my life are equally important, including Shane, and I don't put my husband hierarchically like above everyone. But I do love Shane, and I'm committed to trying with him for the rest of my life. So I don't know. Wedding is just like a romantic production. I don't know. Like, I'm not like tricked by a wedding. Like, oh, we acted romantic one day. We're gonna be together forever. It's like the daily the daily thing that makes it for. I mean, we do that every day already. You know, we meet every night from 10:30 to 11:30 religiously. So, like, Shane would be fine seeing this, you guys. I say this to them in the background all the time.
Right on.
But Alexander, would you be in a sketch?
It depends on what it was and how it was. I like some sketch comedy, you know. I like long form comedy too. Like there's an old company on radio called Firesign Theater. They did half-hour, 45-minute pieces. They were great. So I like that too. I don't know. I don't see myself as a sketch comedy artist.
Is sketch comedy the only form of sketch video? Like there is it?
Well, no. No. As I said, Beckett did. He did sometimes. He had things called sketches, and he had a couple of short pieces that one was called Rough for Theater. And then another one was Rough for Theater 2. So.
Oh, a rough is kind of like a sketch, like a rough cut.
Yeah, but there was never
roughs instead of sketches.
There was never a corresponding thing. You know, the rough existed on its own.
Interesting. Yeah, a rough cut. I just recently learned what rough cuts in video were, and that helped me a lot. It's like the first edit where you get the whole storyline together, and then I go in and like micro edit on top of that. But that like a rough cut.
Yeah.
A rough isn't necessarily the same as a sketch, but it is kind of rough, and it has a similar quality of being rough as a sketch. But Jay-Z, oh, go ahead.
Well, I was going to ask, what's the difference between a one-act play and a sketch?
About 15 pages. Well, I write one acts all the time, and really they're about, I don't know, most of mine are about 30 minutes long, maybe 40 minutes.
They have multiple concepts available in that, whereas the sketch is just one concept.
Yeah, but very often I take an idea and I start asking questions about it, but I never answer anything. And that's, to me, the luxury of one acts, that you can ask people to think about an idea and then go away and let them think about it. In a 2-hour play, you sort of have to flesh everything out and come up with some kind of conclusion. And though there might be a conclusion in the one act that has to be resolved, the idea doesn't have to be resolved. And I would say in a sketch, like sketch comedy, I think maybe the idea has to be resolved. Like, I'm trying to think of like a Monty Python thing.
Or have a punchline or something, maybe that.
Yeah.
Where it all comes together in the end.
Yeah.
You understand what the reason behind or what the thought behind it is, because it's like there's some coming together at the end. Right.
Because there are some sketch comedy pieces where you're missing a piece. It's a kind of script writing thing called I've Got a Secret. So you're missing a piece and you don't know what that is till the end.
And then you realize, like, oh, she was his mother.
That's right.
So I have a sketch thing that I want to do. This is actually teaching me a lot about like why I keep needing to make videos that are like one concept videos, but they're sketches. Like, okay, here's an example. So I'm pretty much polyamorous, but I'm getting married, right? Like, and so how am I acting this out? Because like I'm getting married, you know, in some ways because my mom really wants me to, my daughter wants me to, and it's like, okay, I'll do the marriage thing, you know. And I want to be married to Shane forever. Don't get me wrong. But like the polyamorous part of me is like, oh man, Stardoll's got to get married too. And it's like, now it's like, I have all these sketches like Stardoll marries everything. Stardoll marries her piano. Stardoll marries her chart. Stardoll marries, like, and that's my way of like acting out polyamory, like artistically, is that like Stardoll marries a bunch of stuff, but like Andy marries, like, does the real marriage. But those are sketches, is like Stardoll marries her piano is a sketch,
Yes.
right? Or like Start All Marys or Chart is a sketch, and you guys are teaching me that's like a sketch series.
Yes. So you would marry the piano, and that would be it.
And that's the whole video.
That would be the video. But it also means that so we're here today because Andy and her piano are going to, Star Doll and her piano are going to get married. But then there's some other element that you don't know.
Well, and
Like-
go ahead.
At the end, you find out that the piano has to get divorced first,
Oh my god, that's so funny. That's too
Which we-
rich. That's so good.
which you didn't know.
Yeah.
The piano could be hemming and hawing like, I don't know.
The
if I
piano
wanna-
leaves her at the aisle. That's so good.
And then at the very end, well, the piano says, well, I still have to get divorced.
Well, Jeezy, this made me think of how I think one of the reasons sketches make sense for our troupe is because we're a lot of concept artists. Like a lot of what we do is come up with really weird concepts, right?
Mhm.
So it's like the sketches serve to display a concept we have, right? So but does this kind of lend to why some of the videos are more cringe fringe style? Is like we're not trying to make like a perfect idea. We're trying to just sketch out an idea of just like check this out. You know what I mean? Like it's like the videos. Does that rogue style of video? It's like a rough kind of as opposed to like a final product. Do you know what I mean? Like, is that part of why they're rough? I guess is because they're coming out quickly. Like, here's an idea, here's an idea, here's an idea.
Maybe I think it's half and half, right? I think it's half like that's the intentional style, and half it's a sketch. It's not supposed to be a polished version. But yeah, maybe it does have mostly like the style of a sketch is that it is not supposed to
Well,
be
I like
perfect. Like perfectly crafted.
I like that.
Mhm.
Makes me think of Portlandia. Like I've never watched much Portlandia, but I think that was sketch comedy, right?
Yes. Because it was very episodic.
Yeah, and I think, but like we could theoretically make a movie with like the whole. It would be like the Muppet movie. It would be like if we all made a movie together and we scripted the whole thing. That would be like the Muppet movie of the Moyer Press movie, right? But up until that, like everything is just kind of like I don't know, like I guess it's reminding me or making me realize why so much of our art is rough avant-garde style is because we're just trying to get like little sketches out there.
Yeah, I think that is true. Absolutely. Yeah, and it comes down to also, yeah, like if you can convey 80 or 90% of what you want to convey with, 20% of the effort, the 20-80 rule, I guess, then is it better to have like a lot of those things as explorations than to have 20% of the things as your final creations, but they took so much more time each to make, and it's an aesthetic and artistic choice.
I think a lot of what we do is episodic and sketchy because we're co-creating with the crowd on Facebook and stuff. We're like, here comes an idea, it filters in. We're like, oh, that would be a good idea for a movie, and then we like want to get the movie out real quick because if you look in production, quickness is one of the biggest things that makes a production company successful because the idea is relevant now. Like we got to get that sketch out like next week so that people are like, kind of thing. But like Night Coffee was a sketch video we did but that was a idea that rolled around for a long time. We'd be playing music and we're like, give me my Night Coffee, I got a rally, and like we finally were like, we need to concretize that concept into a video. But that it wasn't like super relevant because it didn't happen like at the time night coffee was invented. You know what I mean? Like there's something about quickness in sketching that makes it really powerful.
Hmm. Hmm. Well, what do you think about like ever circling back around and making more refined versions of the things that we have done already?
Whoa.
Would that be something that would ever happen?
Is that something you would like to happen?
Maybe if there's a concept that we're like, oh, we want to make that concept go viral, or we want to make that concept really like, well, okay, so here an example of this is, so the album, the Symphonia Celestalia, that album gets revisited like a lot, like Damien Lazara just came in and played one of the songs from that album because that album is like our original music content. Then we're like, oh, let's go Damien on that. Like, so that gets replayed, and I just did Crusher Too Long yesterday on the accordion because the concept of something crushing you too long is what I wanted to use, you know. And so I was like, I'm being crushed by this breakup, so I'm going to do 2, 3, 4, 5 Crusher Too Long. But it was the concept that I wanted to use, and so it got revisited because the concept was useful,
Mhm.
you know. But would we make? But maybe
What is it that you did that you're thinking about remaking, Jay-Z? Where they music videos?
Oh no, any of the things, right? Like, would we ever remake Stardoll that gets a tattoo?
Oh, oh,
You know,
oh, oh,
would
oh.
we ever remake
I
Home
okay.
Sweet Home.
I
Home
thought
Sweet
you were
Home? Yeah.
talking about something that you and Andy did years ago, but no.
You know, I guess it would have to be a concept that we were like, this is our concept, and we want to really capitalize on that. I mean, I don't know, Jay-Z. I want to ask you the same question because it's like, that's such a good question of like, what would make us remake? It would be if the concept was.
Yeah. Well, I would say that if we were in some kind of a transit that made us want to make like 12 different versions of covering our own song, you know, like that would be super fun. I think that is like really intriguing and fun to
Interesting.
do something in a whole bunch of different styles, or to do something with like with different budgets or in
Ooh,
different locations,
God,
you know.
that's so cool. Like we could call those re-renderings or
Hmm.
like cover. Yeah, I love that cover. Like you and I can write a song, an original, and then we could like cover it 12 times, or if for the 12 different signs, for example,
Yeah,
in the
Yeah,
signs of the styles of the signs.
you could
yeah,
cover it as 12 different people,
yeah, yeah.
acting as 12 different people.
Or have like 12 different friends who are musicians cover our song, a song, or you know, something
Yeah, totally.
in different styles, right? Like here's the reggae version, here's the rock version, you know.
Yeah, interesting. That's a cool idea in and of itself, right? Like that is the concept, is covering your own song, or you know what I mean? Or it could be the re-rendering series. We could be like re-render 1, re-render 2, re-render 3. Like, and we could do all kinds of weird shit. Like we could do this episode and do it again, where we're like, let's do the sketch episode again and like and see what's different. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
We
yeah.
could this episode that we're doing right now, you mean we could do it again and listen to it and all of us mouth what we had said in the original one.
I could do it without my veneers and
Oh,
Oh, 7 years. Huh?
that'd be something.
Wish I could do
We
that.
could do a cut up version of it in which we just like a Burroughs Jason style thing where we sliced up the thing and then stuck it back together in
Yes.
rando sequence.
or like we could
Yeah.
do a mashup or a remix. Totally just remix it, but then it's the same episode remixed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
We can merge it with a different episode. We could be like, it's called a merge sketch. Oh, I've done
yeah.
merge sketch. I have a sketch called. I do merge sketches with artists sometimes when an artist comes in and I want to see how our charts look together. I'll put us together, like pictures of us like back and forth with a song that we play together. I've done a few merge sketches.
Oh, that's cool.
Interesting. God, I like that idea. The re-render. Re-render is a cool idea.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think that's why we're into sketches, because then like you can do a million of them. Like if you only do like one precious thing, then like you don't have time to explore, you know? That's
Well-
why like, and because we have an avant-garde style, because we want to try and experiment with all sorts of different things, you know?
Dude, we should do, we should do a re-render of a Secret Cock song.
Oh yeah, Party Patrol.
Yeah, like Stardust's like rolling up the window, but she's just like mouthing it. You know what I mean? Like Stardust does Secret Cock. We could call it Secret Doll. You know?
Yeah.
But
Yeah, we could do the whole Secret Cock EP.
Dude, well, and the reason to re-render there would be to resurrect that album from the dead, essentially, and remake the crowd notice that you were in Secret Cock. Like, I think there are reasons to re-render or revisit concepts, but I think everything we do has a reason. Like, why would it move to the top of the queue? Well, it has to be useful to us for some reason.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or enjoyable in some way.
Yeah, totally.
I mean, I guess there's a use behind that, right? And entertaining ourselves.
Well, and I think I really like your idea of the reason we do sketches is because we're experimental and we just are like playing and trying stuff all the time. Like, I think to be too scripted to me is like suffocating, kind of.
Well, it's not to me, because it's a place to start, and you get to shoot whatever you're going to shoot, however you want to shoot it. But it's a place to start. Well, and my main, I mean, this, I'm talking about film, but I'd rather hear scripted pieces where people say exactly what the writers want them to say, and not have to listen to people go, yeah, well, sure, like, I mean, like, and that bores me to tears. So scripted is good for me. I sent you guys something to watch that is avant-garde and very old, but it's in the chat. But it might be of interest to you. So I understand you don't want to be locked into the script, and there are people, Beckett, for example, who wouldn't let anybody change anything ever. They had to follow every single word, because he had an idea that was larger than the word. So the word was part of what it was trying to convey, but how and what it was doing was also part of it too. So, but
yeah. I mean, I think our largest goal here, and maybe, I mean, on the art side of the studio, is entertainment. Like, it's like the music in Saturday Night Live is there to entertain the crowd. I mean, so it's like we are there to entertain, so we can entertain with a re-render, we can entertain with a new idea, we can so anything that we decide to do, I think, is useful in that way. But if we want to move like a person along artistically, like let's say it would be good for your artistic career to resurrect Secret Cock, like that, but maybe you don't want to resurrect it because you're like, I don't want that word out there associated with me. Like, we can also not resurrect, but I think that we're trying for win-wins. Like, we want it to be a win for you as an artist. Also, it's not just entertainment. You know what I mean?
You're trying to resurrect Supercock?
Supercock. That's the real name of the band.
It sounds like a Viagra problem.
No, the name of the band was Secret Cock.
Oh.
Yeah.
When Jesse and I met, we were on tour, and I was playing in a band called Discharge Information System, and he was in a band called Secret Cock.
Oh. I saw discharge information system.
But like, there's stuff from my band Punky Bruiser that I don't know if I want re-released because it's really vulgar, and like
Yeah,
I had to kind of put a cease and desist on that at some point in my career.
yeah.
But
You
didn't
know,
you both move on? Aren't you thinking about other things now? Are you still
Yeah, but it's
toying or playing with the same ideas that you did back then, or not?
no, but it's a retrospective. It's called like our like backstory, basically.
Andy, I was just in the studio and I had to move some CDs from one place to another to get something from behind him. And I came across the Punky Bruiser reunion on CD.
Oh my god, interesting. That's a re-render right there, a reunion show.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, you guys. Well, I think we're close to wrapping it up, but I think this is a really informational episode. Like, did you guys learn anything today?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm interested in the whole. I'm still interested in the whole scripted thing because it is. I hear what you're saying, Alexander. Like when you go see a band play live, you want to actually hear them play their songs. You don't necessarily want to see Fish or the Grateful Dead or a jazz rendition, a bunch of jazz players just making stuff up all the time.
Right.
Unless you're in the mood to go see that, right? So, and I hear that, like, from being in a band, I know, like, writing your own songs and then rehearsing them and practice them and crafting them and the verse and chorus and the hook and the bridge and, like, that takes some effort, more so than just like hitting record and playing blues or jazz together that
Right.
you're just making up.
I do want to do a sketch where it's called Alexander Scripts, Jay's Secret Doll or whatever. And it's like, I want to do a video that's a sketch. Like, he writes us to do whatever he wants us to do, like, basically. And then we have to act out whatever he's scripted. That would be a funny sketch.
Yeah. And then what will be funny about it is that we'll be like incompetent actors who can't like remember our lines or get it right or something like that.
But that will be something too. That will be part of the tone too.
Yeah.
But maybe it's, you never know what will happen. That would be funny. We could do that here.
Yes.
We
We could
could
do it
write.
in February when I'm there.
Yeah, you're coming for the wedding.
Yeah, absolutely.
The wedding.
Of course.
Are we gonna what day is that? Is that a Saturday or Sunday you're getting married?
It's a Saturday.
So are we gonna do this on Monday after?
I don't see why not. I mean, people will be gone by Sunday night, so.
And you will have. We could do Sunday because you will have a big miracle to talk about.
Oh yeah, no, Sunday there'll be a brunch, but yeah. I'll be going to my honeymoon to Disney World, Goth Day at Disney World, so that will be another month. It'll be
In Florida.
Yeah.
That's the one in Florida. I've been there.
Nice. All right, you guys. Thank you so much. We'll see you soon.
I'll see you next week.
All right, bye.
Peace.